My grandfather's house always felt like a place frozen in time. The wallpaper was peeling, the furniture was wrapped in dusty sheets, and every floorboard seemed to creak louder than it should. After he passed, I was the only one left to deal with his estate. No one else wanted anything to do with it. I wasn't surprised. Grandpa Elias wasn't exactly a warm man. He lived alone for the last 15 years of his life. My parents barely spoke about him, and when they did, it was in hushed tones and half sentences. The last time I saw him, I was 16. He stood in the doorway like a scarecrow, thin and stiff, and told me never to come back. No explanation, just slammed the door. Now, 13 years later, I had the keys to his house. The drive to Black Hollow took longer than I remembered. The town looked hollowed out, like time had forgotten it. Most of the stores were boarded up, and the gas station attendant looked like he hadn't spoken to another person in days. The house sat on the edge of the forest, where the trees grew too tall and too close together. The gate was rusted shut, so I climbed over it. When I opened the front door, a blast of stale air hit me in the face. It smelled like old wood, mildew, and something else, faint, metallic. I set up camp in the living room. No electricity, so I used battery lamps. I wasn't planning to stay more than a few nights, just long enough to sort through his things and meet with the lawyer. That first night, I found the recorder. It was tucked under a loose floorboard in the study, wrapped in an old flannel shirt. A small, handheld tape recorder. Beside it was a stack of labeled cassettes, each one marked with a date, handwritten in shaky capital letters. The latest one was from a week before he died. Curiosity got the better of me. I listened to the first tape, March 3rd. It's getting worse. The noises are back. They start after sunset. Same pattern. Tapping, then scratching, then the whispering. I know it's not in my head. I hear them behind the walls. I've boarded up every vent, every crack. Still, they come. His voice was different from how I remembered it. Ragged, shaky, like something was eating at him from the inside. The way he said "they" made my skin crawl. I listened to another tape, March 9th, 2:14 a.m. They opened the basement door. I locked it. They shouldn't have been able to open it. Something is inside. It doesn't breathe like a person. It mimics. I heard it trying to speak last night. It used my name. I turned the tape off. The room felt colder. I told myself it was just the ramblings of an old man slipping into dementia. But why hide the tapes? Why the fear in his voice? I should have stopped listening, but of course I didn't. That night, I barely slept. Every sound in the house felt amplified. The wind outside sounded like voices if I listened too long. At 3:17 a.m., I heard a thump. Then footsteps. I grabbed my flashlight and crept out of the sleeping bag. The house was dark, silent, except for the soft, rhythmic sound of footsteps upstairs. I stood at the bottom of the staircase, heart pounding. I called out, "Hello?" Nothing. The steps stopped. Then something answered back. "Hello?" My voice. Exactly. Same pitch. Same hesitation, echoing from upstairs. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. "Hello," it said again, closer. That was when I ran back to the living room and locked the door behind me. I waited until morning. When I checked the house at sunrise, nothing was out of place. But on the stairs, halfway up, I found a footprint, bare, damp, as if someone had walked out of a shower. I don't know why I didn't leave right then. The next evening, I listened to more tapes. My hands were shaking, but I couldn't stop myself. March 14th. I made the mistake of speaking to it. It learned too quickly. Now, it knocks in patterns, mimics people I used to know. Sometimes, it sounds like my wife, sometimes like children. It's not them. I know that. But part of me still wants to open the door. March 16th. It left something for me last night. On the kitchen table. A locket. My mother's. I buried it with her. I remember I was there. I felt physically ill. I went to the kitchen. Empty, of course, but I searched the drawers anyway. And in the back of one I found it. A gold locket. Slightly tarnished. I opened it. 2 faded photos inside. A man and a woman. I'd seen that locket once before. At my grandmother's funeral. I remember my grandfather pressing it into her hands before they closed the casket. It didn't make sense. None of this did. And then something knocked at the door. 3 taps. Slow. Deliberate. I froze. Then it came again. Louder. More urgent. I picked up the flashlight and walked to the door, held my breath, and then a voice from the other side. Not loud, not angry, just wrong. Daniel, open the door. It's me, your mother. My mother had been dead for 6 years. I backed away slowly. The voice kept speaking. I need your help. I'm hurt. Please. It sounded exactly like her. Even the way she used to say, please, when I was a kid and scrape my knee. I wanted to open the door. My hand was on the knob. But then I remembered the tape. It mimics people I used to know. I stepped back. The voice stopped. Silence. Then laughter. Not hers, something else. Low. Wet. Choking. Like a voice trying to remember how to laugh. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I found something outside the front door. A cassette. No label. I brought it inside and played it. At first just static. Then softly, a voice. Mine. I shouldn't have come here. I think it wants me to listen. The more I do, the stronger it gets. Then silence. Then Grandpa's voice. It feeds on memory, on grief. Every time I remember her face, it takes a little more of me. That's how it survives. I thought I could outlast it. But I was wrong. And now that you're here, it has you too. The recorder clicked off, but I just sat there, frozen. My hands were shaking. I couldn't get the image out of my head of Grandpa whispering into the recorder while something else stood in the room, listening, feeding. I should have left then. Walked out the front door and never looked back. But instead, I went into the study and started searching. There had to be more. And there was. Another hidden panel, this time behind a bookshelf. Inside, 2 more cassettes and a folded map of the house. Only this one showed a basement. I'd never seen stairs anywhere, but the map said they were behind the pantry shelves in the kitchen. I went to check. The shelving was bolted to the wall, but I could see it. A seam in the floor where dust didn't settle. I pulled until my fingers bled. Finally, with a crack and groan, the entire shelf swung open like a door. Behind it, stone stairs. Pitch black. The air that came out was damp and foul. I shouldn't have gone down, but I grabbed my flashlight and started descending. The further I went, the more wrong it felt. The walls weren't just stone. They were marked. Scratches. Symbols. Like something had been clawing to get at or in. The steps ended at a heavy wooden door. No handle. Just chains and a crude lock. On the floor was a small hole, like a feeding slot. The wood was stained dark around it. I leaned in. Something breathed on the other side. Not fast. Not human. Slow. Wet. A rattling inhale that dragged against the wood. I stumbled back. That was when I heard it. From behind me. My voice. Daniel? It sounded scared, like I was pleading with myself. Daniel, help me. I turned and saw me, standing at the top of the stairs. Same clothes, same posture, except the eyes. They were all wrong. It didn't blink. It smiled. I ran, shoved past the shelves, locked the pantry door behind me, Then the lights in the house started flickering, and the recorder turned itself on. Static. Then Grandpa's voice again. "It's awake. You opened the door. Not the wood one. The other one. The one inside." I don't remember much after that. I locked myself in the bathroom, screamed at the mirror. I started seeing things in my own reflection. Not just movement, but timing. Like it was a beat too late. A second me, trying to keep up. The tapes were scattered across the floor. I smashed the recorder, burned the cassettes in the fireplace. But even as they melted, I could still hear them, playing, whispering, calling. That night, I packed my things. I didn't care about the estate, the money, anything. I climbed the fence, ran to town. I didn't stop moving until I hit cell signal and called for a ride. When I told the lawyer I wasn't interested, he just said, "Yeah, that happens sometimes. That was 2 weeks ago. I've been staying with a friend ever since, but something's wrong. I hear knocking on my bedroom door at 3:17 every night. And sometimes, when I wake up, the voice I speak with isn't my own. It's close, almost perfect. But there's a delay, a flicker, a smile that lingers too long in the mirror. I think I brought it with me. I think it remembers my voice better than I do. And last night, I heard a tape playing. But I never pressed play. It was me, speaking